Ariela, who made a living working at nightclubs and modeling, also starred in 6ix9ine's music videos. He paid tribute in a series of stories on Instagram, calling his longtime friend my wife and a tremendous woman. You supported me in everything. New York won't ever be the same. I loved you. Another New York native, Cardi B, mourned Ariela with this photo, adding, "Rest in peace, Dominican pretty."
The streets are buzzing. 6ix9ine's girl is gone, murdered cold. And fresh footage just dropped, showing 6ix9ine right before it all went down. Seriously, Dad's gonna be tripping over this one. Word on the street is his comments may have triggered the ops and prompted the hit. Let's break it down. This ain't just a tragedy, it's a whole vibe shift. It's August 17th, 2025. The sun's barely cracking through the concrete jungle, and Ariela Mejia-Polanco, 29 years old, Dominican B2Y, influencer, bartender gone, slumped in her whip on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. The circumstances? Head-scratching. But the real drama? Her connection to Tekashi 6ix9ine. Did his moves set the stage for this? Real talk. To understand how deep this goes, we gotta break down who Ariela really was in these streets. This wasn't some regular chick posting selfies for likes. Shorty was a whole vibe, a whole thing in New York's nightlife scene. Over 551,000 followers on the gram, 115,000 on TikTok. She built her brand through charisma, dance content, and modeling. The kind of stuff that gets people feeling something. But beyond the social media flex, Ariela was plugged into a whole ecosystem where rappers, hustlers, and influencers all move in the same circles. That's a dangerous mix of clout, cash, and potential drama. Fam working behind the bar at spots like Icon New York and Starlets of New York, Ariela wasn't no stranger to the glitz, glamour, and all the beef that comes with New York's elite party scene. These weren't just any regular clubs. They were places where celebrities, influencers, and street dudes cross paths, creating that volatile mix of fame, money, and potential static that can turn deadly real quick. Imagine the tension, the whispers, the potential for something to pop off. The night before everything went left tells a story that hits different when you know how it ends. On August 16th, 2025, Ariela posted on her Instagram story, living her best life. She was vibing at Icon New York, looking like a whole snack. But was she too close to the fire? Was she playing with something she couldn't control? The footage shows her laughing, posing, radiating confidence, unaware of the storm brewing just over the horizon. And then there's 6ix9ine. His legal situation in 2025 was a whole different ballgame. He wasn't the same dude who was dominating headlines with wild public appearances and social media antics. He was under some seriously restricted circumstances. House arrest, electronic monitoring, a ban on international travel. He was basically a caged animal, and every move he made was being watched. And somehow, Ariela's death became linked to his controversial past and all the enemies he made during his transformation from street-affiliated rapper to federal informant. 6ix9ine was under strict probation following a 45-day stint in federal custody in late 2024 for violating supervised release. Probation terms were harsh: a ban on international travel, constant monitoring, and a whole lot of rules. Plus, in July 2025, he pleaded guilty to drug charges after a raid on his Florida crib uncovered MDMA, cocaine, and other substances. He was waiting for sentencing, which further restricted his ability to make public appearances. It's hard to even picture him being able to move freely, let alone being near someone like Ariela. Yet here we are. The speculation surrounding Ariela's death isn't just about her connection to 6ix9ine. It's about a whole web of relationships, rivalries, and potential motives that extend far beyond a single romantic connection. It's about power, respect, and the brutal consequences of playing the game in a city that doesn't forgive or forget. And speaking of the game, let's look at 6ix9ine's own words. He continues his comparison to fallen rappers, pointing out that everyone plays the game until they lose. In some revealing footage, 6ix9ine breaks down his philosophy about street violence and why he believes his approach is superior to the keep it real mentality that has gotten other rappers bodied. Let me ask you something. That and there's no, and like I said, My respect to the West Coast. You're never lacking, right? Never. So what happened to the inaudible? You think he said, "Yo, you will never come up to me 'cause I'm inaudible"? You think he said, "Bro, it happened to the best of them"? He's arguing that his willingness to use any means necessary, including working with the feds, makes him smarter than the guys who ended up in
Ariela La Langosta, a social media star and mother with romantic ties to rapper Tekashi
body bags. It's a chillingly cold analysis. This mentality becomes crucial when examining whether his association with Ariela could have put her in harm's way. Did she know too much? Was she caught in the crossfire? Was she collateral damage in a larger power struggle? The answers are buried deep within the streets, waiting to be unearthed. The most prevalent theories circulating through social media, hip-hop blogs, and international news outlets centers around the idea that Ariela got caught in the crossfire, with the real target being her alleged boyfriend, Nate Cartier. According to these reports, Nate Cartier is a suspected gang leader with a history of criminal activity, including robbery operations known in street slang as jalopia. Details surrounding this theory are disturbing. She was allegedly driving a Mercedes G-Wagon when she was hit, while Nate Cartier was present but unharmed. Even more concerning are claims she sold out Colombians for him to rob, leading to retaliation. If true, this shifts the narrative from a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time to one of active participation in criminal activities that ultimately led to her getting smoked. Police confirmed detaining someone for questioning, with multiple sources identifying him as Nate Cartier. His background, including prior arrests and irregular entry into the United States, lends credibility to this theory. Now, the connections to Nate Cartier introduce another layer of complexity. If Ariela was messing with both 6ix9ine and Nate Cartier, it raises questions about the nature of these relationships and whether they overlapped in ways that could have made her a target for multiple reasons. Was she playing both sides? Did she know she was walking a tightrope? Was she aware of the danger she was in? Then there's the theory that focuses on 6ix9ine's enemies seeking retaliation. 6ix9ine's history as a former 9 Trey Gangster Bloods member who testified against the gang in 2019 earned him the snitch label. In some revealing footage, 6ix9ine is seen commenting on this situation. "Let me ask you something." And there's no, and like I said, my respect to the West Coast. You're never lacking, right? Never. So what happened to the inaudible? He's basically saying that everyone plays the game until they lose. These enemies are likely still out there, waiting for an opportunity to strike. And Ariela's death could be their way of sending a message to 6ix9ine. It's a dangerous game, and the stakes are incredibly high. 6ix9ine's transformation from street rapper to federal informant wasn't a one-time decision. It's a consistent approach to dealing with legal troubles. This pattern has serious implications for understanding how his enemies might view anyone in his inner circle. The story doesn't end there. New information is emerging, changing everything we thought we knew about this case. It's a complex web of relationships, rivalries, and potential motives. The truth is out there, but it's buried deep within the streets. And until it's brought to light, Ariela's death will remain a haunting reminder of the brutal consequences of playing the game. The authorities are investigating. The streets are talking. But the truth? The truth is still waiting to be revealed. The Cross County Parkway, August 17th, 2025. A day that started like any other quickly spiraled into something dark, something shocking. A name now etched in the headlines, Ariela Langosta, and the connection that sent shockwaves through the entire game. She was Tekashi 6ix9ine's girlfriend, and now she's gone. Forever. The news hit like a brick. 1 minute, she's working at Icon, New York, radiating that smile that lit up the room. The next, she's slumped in a vehicle, a gunshot wound silencing her laughter forever. It's brutal. It's senseless. And it's got everyone asking the same question. What the hell happened? Look, we all know Tekashi's story. The rise, the fall, the cooperation. He's a lightning rod, a magnet for controversy, and a walking target. And when someone close to you becomes a target, the stakes get real. This isn't just about a tragedy. It's about the twisted reality of this world, where loyalty is a myth, and even those closest to you might be playing a different game. The official story? Suspicious homicide. Criminal activity. That's it. That's all we're getting from the authorities. But in a world fueled by speculation and rumors, silence breeds its own narrative. And right now, the streets are talking. And what they're saying is far more complicated than a simple investigation. Let's rewind. The timeline. The players. The potential motives. It's a web, man. A tangled mess.
The 33-year-old, who had nearly 700,000 followers, was found shot dead inside her vehicle along a busy road just north
of relationships, rivalries, and secrets buried deeper than you can imagine. And somewhere in that web, the truth is waiting to be uncovered. We all know Takashi's reputation precedes him. The betrayal, the snitching. He threw the book at everyone, and now karma seems to be collecting. This wasn't a random act. This was a message. A warning. But who sent it? And why? The prevailing theory? Someone wanted to get to Takashi, but they knew he's protected. So, they went after the one person he actually seemed to trust. They attacked his lifeline, his confidant, his girl. It's a play straight out of the playbook of the most ruthless players in the game. But here's the thing. Takashi doesn't do normal. He thrives in chaos. He's a walking contradiction. And that makes everything about this case so damn confusing. Was Ariela actually involved in something? Was she a pawn in a bigger game? Or was she just caught in the crossfire of a conflict she didn't even understand? Let's talk about the tributes. The outpouring of grief from Icon New York, from starlets of New York. They described her as a shining star, full of joy and humility. It seems unbelievable, doesn't it? A girl like that, caught up in this nightmare. But that's the reality of this world. Innocence rarely survives. And then there's the community response. The Dominican community, mourning the loss of one of their own. The flood of messages on Ariela's Instagram, a testament to the love and respect she commanded. It's heartbreaking. It's a reminder that behind every headline, behind every statistic, there's a real person, a real life cut tragically short. Now, let's peel back another layer of this onion. Takashi's cooperation with the feds. That's not something easily forgiven. That's a one-way ticket to a lifetime of enemies. He essentially declared war on an entire ecosystem, and now it seems like that ecosystem is fighting back. The no-jumper host hit the nail on the head. When you involve law enforcement, use putting a target on everyone around you. Use creating a ripple effect, and sooner or later, that ripple comes back to bite you. And the timing? Perfect. Takashi's sentencing looming in September 2025. The pressure mounting. The spotlight burning brighter than ever. Any move he makes now is magnified, scrutinized, dissected. And Ariela's death? It's the ultimate distraction, the ultimate leverage. Some are saying Takashi tried to distance himself, using these tributes as a way to show he's heartbroken, that he's innocent. Others believe it's genuine sorrow. A rare moment of vulnerability from a man who's built his empire on toughness and defiance. But let's not forget the deeper context. The way Takashi moves, the way he operates. He's constantly challenging, provoking, pushing boundaries. He's playing a dangerous game, and the consequences are very real. The speculation runs wild. Was Ariela involved in drug trafficking? Was she mixed up with the wrong people? Was she protecting Takashi, putting herself in harm's way? The questions are endless, and the answers are elusive. We have to remember the culture of revenge in the streets, the code of silence, the unspoken rules that govern this world. If Takashi betrayed someone, someone is going to pay. And if they can't get to him directly, they's going after those he cares about. Let's dissect the details. The Cross County Parkway, August 2025. A location chosen for a reason. A message delivered with precision. This was the crime of passion. This was calculated, premeditated. And what about the timing? Right before his sentencing. It's a power move. A way to send a message to the courts, to the authorities. It's a declaration of war. But let's not forget Takashi's own vulnerabilities. He's a walking contradiction. A man who thrives in chaos. A figure who consistently defies expectations. And that makes everything about this case so damn complicated. The narrative surrounding Ariela's relationship with Takashi is just as crucial. Was it genuine? Was it a strategic alliance? Or was she simply a casualty of his tumultuous life? The answers remain shrouded in secrecy, adding another layer of complexity to an already baffling situation. Let's consider the broader picture. The community's response to Ariela's death has been overwhelming, with expressions of mourning and sympathy pouring in from far and wide. It's a painful reminder that behind every tragedy, there are countless lives impacted and countless stories left untold. And what about the law enforcement investigation? Has it uncovered any leads? Has anyone been brought in for questioning? Or is it another case of...
New York native Cardi B mourned Ariela with this photo, adding, "Rest in peace, Dominican pretty."
the system failing to protect those who need it most? The answers remain elusive, fueling the flames of speculation and conspiracy. But one thing is clear, this case is far from closed. The truth is out there, hidden beneath layers of secrecy and deception. And someone, somewhere, knows what really happened. The question is, will they come forward? It's a reminder that in this world, loyalty is a fragile commodity, and even those closest to you may have their own agendas. It's a world where the stakes are high, and the consequences are dire. So what does this all mean? What's the bigger picture? It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame, the price of betrayal, and the fragility of life. It's a reminder that in this world, no one is truly safe. Let's be honest, Takashi is a problem. He's brought a level of chaos and conflict that's hard to ignore, and anyone associated with him is inevitably drawn into that whirlwind of turmoil. And what about the future? What does this case mean for Takashi? Will he be forced to live with the guilt of knowing that his actions may have contributed to Ariela's death? Or will he continue to deny responsibility, clinging to the illusion of control? Let's be clear, Takashi's actions have ripple effects. He's created a web of enemies, and anyone connected to him is a potential target. Ariela's death is a stark reminder of the dangers that come with associating with a controversial figure like Takashi. The outpouring of grief from the Dominican community is a testament to Ariela's character. She was a beloved figure, a source of joy and inspiration to those who knew her. Her loss is a tragedy that will be felt for years to come. So, what's the ultimate message here? It's a story of loss, betrayal, and the enduring power of the streets. It's a reminder that in this world, no one is truly safe, and even those closest to you may have their own agendas. And the community? The streets are speaking. They're grieving, they're angry, and they're demanding answers. They want justice for Ariela, and they won't rest until those responsible are brought to justice. The investigation is ongoing, but the truth is out there. Someone knows what happened, and eventually, they's going to come forward. Until then, we can only speculate, analyze, and mourn the loss of a young woman whose life was cut tragically short. But one thing is certain, Ariela's death is not just a tragedy. It's a symbol of a deeper malaise, a reflection of the dark underbelly of fame, fortune, and the relentless pursuit of power. And the echoes of her loss will reverberate through the streets for a long time to come. The screens flickered, static blurring the faces reflected within. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, a digital echo of the grief settling over the city. It wasn't just a news story, it was the story. Ariela, Takashi 6ix9ine's girlfriend, gone. Just like that. Snuffed out. And the world was watching. The comments section, a swirling vortex of shock, anger, and speculation, scrolled relentlessly. Theories blossomed and withered, accusations flew, and the hashtag Justice for Ariela trended globally. It felt unreal, like some twisted, hyper-real movie. But it wasn't. It was life. And Ariela's life, brutally cut short, was leaving a gaping hole in the city's soul. Remember when she first popped onto the scene? Just a girl, fresh-faced and full of dreams, standing beside Takashi, radiating this effortless cool. Suddenly, everyone wanted to be her, to have what she had. The clothes, the parties, the fast cars, the life. But behind the curated perfection of Instagram, what was really going on? Nobody knew. Or at least, nobody was willing to talk. The investigation, officially, was ongoing. But the streets had their own investigation. They knew something. They felt it in the pulse of the city, in the murmur of conversations overheard, in the way shadows seemed to linger a little longer. The whispers started subtly. A disgruntled employee, a jealous rival, a secret admirer gone wrong. Each possibility fueled the fire of online speculation. The internet, as always, was a ravenous beast, feeding on rumors and conjecture. The news reports were sterile, clinical. Young woman found deceased. Police investigating suspicious circumstances. They glossed over the details, the raw emotion, the heartbreak. They didn't show the frantic calls to her family, the tear-streaked faces of her friends, the stunned silence that fell over the neighborhood when the news broke. They couldn't capture the feeling of a city holding its breath. And Takashi, he retreated.
Ariela La Langosta, a social media star and mother with romantic ties to rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine, murdered. The 33-year-old, who had nearly 700,000 followers, was found shot dead inside her vehicle along a busy road just north of the Bronx early Sunday morning. Investigators believe she was targeted. So far, no arrests.
Vanished from the public eye, swallowed by the darkness. Was it grief? Guilt? Fear? The question swirled, unanswered. He posted a single, black square on his social media, a simple gesture that spoke volumes. It was a statement of mourning, of solidarity, of something else, something unspoken. Everyone was reading into it, dissecting every pixel, searching for hidden meanings. The city was a stage, and everyone was an actor. The police, the media, Takashi, Ariela's friends, the online commentators, all playing their parts in this tragic drama. But beneath the surface, something else was brewing. A sense of unease, a feeling that this wasn't just about one girl. It was about something bigger, something darker. It was about the price of fame, the corrosive effect of fortune, the relentless pursuit of power that could turn friends into enemies and dreams into nightmares. Ariela's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a symptom, a stark reminder of the rot that had set in, the ugliness that lay hidden beneath the glittering facade of the elite. You see it everywhere, don't you? The desperate scramble for attention, the manufactured drama, the relentless pressure to be perfect, to be flawless, to be more. And what happens when that pressure cracks? What happens when the carefully constructed image shatters? It explodes, and someone pays the price. Ariela was that price, a sacrifice to the gods of fame and fortune, a casualty of a system that rewards excess and punishes vulnerability, a young woman whose potential was snuffed out before it could fully bloom, a life cut short, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. But her death wouldn't be in vain. The streets were demanding justice. They weren't going to let this slide. They were going to expose the truth, no matter how ugly it might be. They were going to hold those responsible accountable. The online petition circulated. The protests grew larger. The hashtags amplified the message. Justice for Ariela wasn't just a trending topic. It was a rallying cry, a demand for change, a refusal to accept the status quo. And the voices of the streets, they weren't just angry. They were grieving. They were mourning. They were remembering Ariela, the girl who loved to dance, the friend who always had your back, the dreamer who dared to believe in a better world. They were remembering the Ariela that existed before the fame, before the fortune, before the relentless spotlight. The Ariela who was just a girl with hopes and dreams, just like any of us. And they weren't going to let her memory be tarnished by the darkness that surrounded her death. They were going to honor her legacy by fighting for justice, by demanding accountability, by creating a world where young women like Ariela could thrive, not just survive. The investigation continued, painstakingly slow, hampered by layers of secrecy and influence. But the streets weren't relying on the official channels. They were conducting their own investigation, piecing together fragments of information, connecting the dots, exposing the lies. Someone knew something. Someone had seen something. Someone was hiding something. And the pressure was mounting. The weight of public opinion, the relentless scrutiny of the internet, the unwavering determination of the streets. It was all converging on a single point. The truth was out there. It was buried beneath layers of deceit, obscured by the shadows of power. But it would surface. It had to surface. Because Ariela deserved that much. Her family deserved that much. The city deserved that much. And when the truth finally emerged, it would be a reckoning, a moment of profound consequence, a turning point in the city's history, a reminder that even in the age of fame and fortune, justice still mattered. The screens flickered again, displaying a new image, a photo of Ariela, smiling, radiant, full of life, a poignant reminder of what had been lost, a symbol of hope, even in the face of despair. The streets would not rest. They would not be silenced. They would continue to demand justice for Ariela until those responsible were brought to justice, and the echoes of her loss would reverberate through the streets for a long time to come. Because Ariela's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a symbol, a mirror reflecting the ugliness of a world obsessed with fame, fortune, and power. And it was a warning, a stark reminder that even in the brightest of lights, darkness could always lurk. The screens went dark. The silence was deafening. But the fight had just begun. The screens went dark. The silence was deafening. But the fight had just begun.